events. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Rob Crowe. I'm the Region Manager of QRL Central Region. It's my pleasure to be your MC this evening. What a fantastic crowd that's gathered here for the Frank Fisher Reconciliation and Police Memorial Dinner. Please put your hands together for yourselves for turning up. Thank you. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. The ladies' toilets are over here to my left. The men's toilets are down a bit further to my left at the end of the table down there. Those smokers, if they could leave by the door out to my right and go down to the end of the clubhouse, they're the set areas, the smoking doors and set areas. As I mentioned before, reconciliation and memorial, the reason why we're here this weekend. I'd like to give you a little bit of background. Firstly, I'm Frank Fisher, who was known as the Wally Lewis of Aboriginal Rugby League players. He was a member of the Indigenous Rugby League team of the century named in 2010, played for Wide Bay against the Ponds, and was asked to move and play for Salford in England. Such was the talent he showed in that game against the Ponds. The state government at the time wouldn't allow him because he was Indigenous. He had to go back to Cherbourg. At 41, he was still captain of Cherbourg. He played alongside the great Eddie Gilbert in cricket. One day, playing for Cherbourg, he scored 105 runs, retired in 32 minutes, hitting 11 sixes and 6 fours. He was quite the sportsman. And that's why we're playing this game in his honour this weekend. In relation to the events of last December at Wayambilla, where Rachel McCrow and Matthew Arnold were going about their daily duties, and that was to protect people like you and I. The unthinkable happened. Alan dared, as anyone would. He cared, he went to help. The unthinkable happened. That's how life can be cut so short. But we're here to get together, as we do in rugby league, showing that we care by gathering people around those to respect, remember, comfort Rachel, Matthew, Alan, and Frank Big Shot Fisher's family, friends and community. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite to the centre stage Uncle Reg Warner, a local elder, to do a welcome to country. Please put your hands together for Reg.
Welcome all. I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land we meet and pay our respects to our elders, all elders past, present and future. And I extend that respect to the Aboriginal Island people that are here tonight. And furthermore, I hereby wish to acknowledge all our loved ones who lost their lives while performing their duties. We have a lot of tribal land throughout Australia. We got Bougainville to the south, plus a lot of little tribes too. And there's Menandangi, Ion, Woolly Woolly, Wodja Wodja, north there, Wodja Wodja, and then we got the Rumble, which is Rockhampton. We got Gubby Gubby, South Coast. We've got Global, Jarrawa, and Jaguar around Toowoomba area. But like I said before, if you don't know your tribal culture, just ask your family, because they'll know uncles, mum, dad, or anyone. Just ask them. And I sort of tomorrow I've got people coming. My great grandson will be playing he'll be doing the dance tomorrow bit. And Uncle Joe will be doing the smoking ceremony tomorrow. So anyway, thank you all for coming and very much thank you. Bye.
Thanks very much, Uncle Reg. I'll just go through the agenda for the evening. We will break for dinner shortly, and we'll go by table up to the far end, starting from table 1 over here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, very unlucky over there on table 5. After dinner, around about 8 o'clock, we've got a list of speakers for tonight. First of all, we'll hear from the new CEO of the Queensland Rugby League, Ben Eichen. Second speaker is Vanessa Fowler from the Alison Baden Clay Foundation. We've got Tracy O'Brien from Anglicare, then coming onto stage, followed by Eddie Monet, and it is the commencement of Reconciliation Week from tomorrow, so it's great to have Eddie here. And Danny Hess, President of the Queensland Police Rugby League, will also say a few words. We'll then break, and then we'll come back with our special guests this evening and have a chat to him, Wayne Bennett, around 9 o'clock, followed by the auction of items that you can see up on stage here, a signed Redcliffe jersey, we've got a Bulldogs jersey, we've got a State of Origin jersey that is signed by Mel Meninga and Petro Sinodisi, and that'll go under the hammer after we speak to Wayne this evening. We do have a large VIP list tonight, so I'd like to go through those and welcome these people especially. And first of all, to our guest speaker tonight, Wayne Bennett. Please put your hands together for Wayne, making the effort. We've got Charisse Pond, the Assistant Commissioner of Police Southern Region. Welcome, Charisse. Mrs. Kerry Baird, welcome to you, Kerry. Love to have you here this evening. You mentioned Danny Hess, the President of the Queensland Police Service Rugby League. Tim Mole, Acting Superintendent, District Officer, South West District. We're Kane and Jamie Stegman, with Jamie being Danny Maguire's daughter, and those that would well know that Danny had just about everything to do with pulling this together. It was his baby. He spent hours and hours, and most of you will know that he set it all up and then went and conveniently had a heart attack last week and had a triple bypass. So the good news is he's well and truly on the mend and in good spirits, and I can share with you today that as the time come for this evening, he was a very emotional person, which is not normally like him, about missing tonight. So we will ask Jamie shortly to come up and say a few words on behalf of the family. But also we've got Jim Madden, member for Ipswich. Bryson Head, member for Callide. I'm not sure if Bryson's here, but there he is. Good, thank you, Bryson. They're here tonight and tomorrow. Brian Canavan, Currall Board Member Brian. Board members Naomi McCarthy and Samantha Bliss. Welcome. Ben Eichen, the CEO of Queensland Rugby League. And we're first at the moment. We've got two CEOs. We've got an interim CEO as well, Rob Moore, who's well known around Queensland. Eddie Monet and Scott Nosby from the QRL Indigenous Committee. Welcome, guys. Kimberly Schiefer from the Queensland Ambulance Service, who was on the ground back in December last year, and she's made the effort to be here. Welcome, Kimberly. And finally, Adrian Coolwell from Queensland Police Indigenous Employment Officer, First Nations and Multicultural Affairs Unit. So welcome to Adrian. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite Jamie to the centre stage just to say a couple of words on behalf of Danny and the family. Please welcome Jamie.
I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. As Rob said, my name is Jamie and my dad is Danny Maguire. Unfortunately, Dad is unable to be here this weekend unexpected heart surgery has slowed him down, but he assures me he will be home and ready for Game 1 on Wednesday. He is really disappointed not to be here. I am one of 4 children, however some say there are 5 of us, the 5th child being rugby league and a particular country and regional footy. Dad's passion has always been about bringing communities and people together through footy being the pathway. The Frank Fisher Cup and this weekend are a prime example of that. Now for some words from the man himself. Reconciliation and domestic violence have been the cornerstone of the Frank Fisher Cup in the past, and this year it includes remembrance of those who not only lost their lives on the 12th of December, but providing support for all those impacted by the events. Families, first responders, school children and local communities. The tentacles reach deep into our community. Plenty more will be said by others here tonight, but my wish is for us all to move forward as one. My particular thanks goes to those who have stepped into the breach to take over where I left off from. Peter Rafter, Rob Crow, Danny Hess and Nick Patterson from QPS. Thanks to Chinchilla Bulldogs, Dolby Devils, local accommodation houses and to the generous community that made this possible. Without the generous support of the state government and the local council, events like this don't happen. We had some generous sponsors come on board along the way. When asked for support, the common response was, how can we help? Dad says, enjoy the night, enjoy the footy, and go the Maroons.
Thank you, Jamie. As I said earlier, we'll break for a dinner now and get that out of the way before we get to our speakers for the night. So if I could please ask table 1 to Wayne take the table forward up to grab something to eat, that'd be great. Down there. Before we get to our speakers, there's a few apologies this evening. Firstly, David Littleproud, the Deputy Leader of the Coalition Party. He's a Chinchilla boy and unfortunately he was in Ballarat this evening and couldn't make it back. He desperately wanted to be here. Mayor Paul McVeigh and councillors who are on other duties tonight from the Western Downs Regional Council. And we've got a late one here from Dwayne Bennett. Apparently Wayne Bennett was supposed to jump in the car with Wayne at 12 o'clock today, but anyway, that's what he told him, but Wayne got going at 11. So poor old Wayne's still waiting on his sports tax. Without any further ado, the brand new CEO of Queensland Rugby League, Ben Ikin, please put your hands together for Ben. Well, Ben has been baptism of fire for you, straight in, state of origin straight away, meeting all the staff, and it's been a big week for you straight away.
Yeah, I wrote up my game plan and had it ready to go for Billy, but he rejected it, unfortunately. He's going to go his own way. Yeah, it's a great time of year, so timing was just coincidental, but Tony and Billy have both picked their sides. They've got Origin 1 in Adelaide and Sydney next week. I've had a chat with both of them. They've kind of been there and done it before, and the board and myself are really comfortable that both teams are in good hands. But it's a great time of year, but the thing you're reminded of when you step into the QRL is that this thing that's going to consume us for the next couple of months, it starts in places like this, you know. It's a kid in Western Queensland who's got stars in his eyes or stars in her eyes and needs a coach to bring a group of ratbags together and turn them into a rugby league team, and they go home and watch a bit of TV and think, I can do that, and you look up one day and you're wearing a maroon jersey. So it's a really good time of year, I think, for the entire game.
Yeah, well said. First weekend, as I said before, and it was tremendous that you'd be able to fit this to your schedule. And look, thanks very much for coming, but also the other board members of the QRL that made efforts to be here today. It's a very important event for the Queensland Rugby League.
Thanks, Rob. I raised him before he got up here. I said, mate, you're going to be an NRL 360 level when you NCSC. He was very confident. He just rolled out the Dwayne Bennett gag. He's got everything covered. Look, I had heard about this event some years ago when I was on the QRL board, and I'm going to be honest and say, when I first heard about the Frank Fisher Cup, I had no idea who Frank Fisher was, and so I'm kind of curious by nature. Jump on and have a look, and it just blew me away that I'd kind of not heard about this guy. I knew there was an Indigenous team of the century, but reading his story to be compared to Wally Lewis, I think Wally Lewis, after what I've read, would be pretty proud to be compared to Frank Fisher. Then the connection to Kathy Freeman, and Kathy Freeman tells her story about how she didn't really know much about her grandfather. He didn't talk much about his footy, the family didn't talk much about it, and I'm reading it, I'm thinking about the little Indigenous fullback we've got at the Broncos at the moment, will make his state of origin debut. He tells everybody all the time how good he's going. So it's a kind of generational thing, I know, but clearly Frank Fisher, great player, made a great contribution to the game, and that was underpinned by great humility. So once you get past, the person this game is named after, and have a look at how this, couple of days functions, we've got a lot of good people in this room who have come together for really good reasons. So one, to play some footy, but two, to promote some strong messages around domestic and family violence. I know everyone's been active in the schools around the local community today, so thank you for that. But then, there's a whole stack of people that need to contribute to make sure that we have a good day tomorrow. So thank you to those people. And then, of course, it would be remiss of me not to make mention of our great mate, Danny Maguire, who's had is it the 3 or the 4? I thought it was the quadruple bypass. It's only 3, triple. Who's been making calls and texts all week to make sure that the thing goes ahead. So to anybody who's made a contribution to this, and to all the players who are going to take the field tomorrow on behalf of the QRL, I just want to say thank you.
And finally, Ben, the focus for you in the short term, what would be the 3 main things that you'd like to do straight away in the QRL?
Win Origin? Yep. I could have helped Billy, but I'll let him do it on his own. But yeah, win the 2 Origin series is always a great thing for Queensland. There's something unique about how we do rugby league up here. They will never get it. I know we say it, but we do tick a bit different, and we do feel different about Origin. So if both teams win over the next couple of months, certainly my experience is that the whole state walks taller. And then beyond that, there's sort of 3 layers in our game. Underpinning sort of Origin and NRL, we've got this brilliant statewide competition, or 2 of them now, the B&D Premiership for the women and the Host Plus Cup for the men. It's a genuine statewide footprint. It's bush footy, as good as you're going to get it, in any sport, anywhere around the world. We run from PNG all the way down the eastern seaboard, through Cairns, Townsville, Mackay, Rockhampton, Sunny Coast, out to Ipswich in Toowoomba, through Brisbane, and even down to the Tweed. We even help the Blues with the Tweed Seagulls. And that statewide footprint takes a high quality of this great game into areas that no other sport can. We're really proud of it, and we're going to fight like hell to make sure it gets maintained. And then, of course, underneath that's the base. It's all the people that just love the game that want to participate in it. It's the kids that have stars in their eyes, that just want to play, have fun and feel safe. There's the coaches and the managers and the match officials and the club administrators, the ground coordinators that need to come together to make that thing happen. So my role as the CEO is to work with all the staff to make sure that everybody who makes this game what it is continue to get the support, that it keeps growing and delivering back to communities what it always has.
Tremendous. And look, we've got plenty of speakers tonight. I really thank you for taking the time to come out here this weekend. I hope you have an enjoyable night and an enjoyable day tomorrow at the footy.
Thanks, Rob.
Please put your hands together for Ben. Another one of our guest speakers tonight is Vanessa Fowler, OAM, Chair of the Alison Baden Clay Foundation. Please make Vanessa welcome.
for that introduction. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land and where we are gathered tonight and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to acknowledge our First Nations people that we have in the room tonight. I'd like to start by just letting you know about my involvement and why I've been invited to speak tonight. I know that domestic violence is certainly part of this event, but I've worked with Danny over the last few years in the Mergen, Cherbourg and Kingaroy area with their domestic and family violence prevention round, and we've been visiting schools and talking to the Mergen Mustangs and visiting the Junior Rugby League clubs. And so Danny extended an invitation for me to come here to address you tonight. So I was very, very pleased to be able to come along tonight. As has been mentioned, my name is Vanessa Fowler and I am the chair of the Alison Baden Clay Foundation. I'm also currently one of the co-chairs of the Queensland Government's Domestic and Family Violence Prevention Council. I work alongside former Police Commissioner Bob Atkinson, and he and I oversee the Domestic and Family Violence Prevention Council. But I guess that my most treasured title, as you would put it, is that I'm also Alison's sister. And so if you had asked me 11 years ago that I would be standing up here as an advocate for domestic and family violence, I certainly would have looked very puzzled because for a start I didn't really know what domestic violence was, and that kind of thing really doesn't happen to our families. But over the last 11 years, my family and I have certainly realised that it doesn't discriminate. It can happen to anyone, anyone's neighbour, anyone's friend, family member or work colleague. It certainly doesn't discriminate. And so we as a foundation, our family decided that we would turn our anger and sadness into something positive, and we created the Alison Baden Clay Foundation. And over the years we have attempted to educate the community around what everyone now knows as coercive control. 11 years ago there was no language around what domestic violence was, and it was swept under the carpet. It was what happened behind closed doors, and it was hidden and secret. And our work over the last 11 years has been to highlight the conversation, keep the conversation going and bringing it out from behind those closed doors. And you'll notice that on your tables we've actually we use this tool as a parent control wheel. We use this in our education programs. And on the one side is the parent control wheel, on the other side is the equality wheel. The parent control wheel, at the centre of domestic and family abuse, is parent control. And then around the outside, at the centre of the wheel, is all of the ways that domestic violence can manifest itself when we're calling it coercive control. And that is that pattern of behaviour that is built up over many years. And then around the outside is the physical and sexual violence, and then around the outside, finally, we have the technological abuse, because each one of us holds a phone in our hand each and every day, and at the moment, technological abuse is by far the most prevalent. So you're welcome to take those with you. It basically details coercive control in all its forms, and so as a foundation, we certainly are out there educating, bringing awareness to the scourge in our society, which is family and domestic violence, and we hope that we can empower people to recognise the signs of coercive control. I certainly would like to acknowledge all the members of the QPS that are in the room here tonight. Certainly, I thank you on behalf of our foundation and on behalf of the Domestic and Family Violence Prevention Council for the work that you do. You are working on the front line, and you deal with domestic and family violence incidents each and every day, and they can be very challenging and very confronting. And I know that personally in my sister's case, right from the superintendent all the way down to the uniformed officers and all the investigators, they were absolutely tremendous in helping my family, and particularly my parents, get through what was a very difficult time. So I thank you for being that first responder and being right there on the front line, because it certainly must take a toll on you, and I just thank you for your bravery and your compassion towards victims of domestic violence. Thank you again for inviting me to come along tonight. I know that by taking this tool with you tonight, that just by reading it over, putting it on your fridge, taking it to work, you'll gain something and some knowledge around what coercive control is. And hopefully within the next 12 months that the Queensland Government will have that criminalised, and we can certainly get ahead of the issue that has been plaguing our society for many, many years. So thank you very much for being here, for honouring at those police officers that passed last year, and also being here for the Frank Fisher Cup. I wish the teams all the very best for tomorrow, and I'll be here cheering you on. So thank you again.
Thanks very much, Vanessa, for sharing your story and for all the work you do with the Foundation. Thank you very much. Okay, representing Anglicare, another one of our sponsors tonight, I'd like to welcome to the stage Tracy O'Brien. Please put your hands together. Welcome, Tracy. Anglicare, can you tell us about the services that you provide in this area for the people in this area?
Yeah, I can go through that here.
Right,
Is that all right with you?
Okay, go.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the land I walk, live and work on, and to all of the ancestors for their wisdom and spiritual connections to country, sky and water. I also pay my respects to the elders, past and present, for sharing their stories and teaching their traditions and cultural protocols that continue to guide me in our journey of reconciliation. Sovereignty has never been succeeded. What a pleasure it is to be here this evening at the beginning of Reconciliation Week and our commitment to reconciliation. My name is Tracy O'Brien, and my role at Anglicare is the Home and Community Service Coordinator, which necessitates me to oversee the management of the Roma and Longreach sites, a combined area totalling almost the size of Victoria. Within these two sites also sits Chinchilla and St George, with offices in all four sites. Home and Community Care Roma cover an area from Chinchilla down to Tara and as far south as the New South Wales border, into St George and as far west as Cunnamulla. I've spent the last 16 years of my career working for this amazing organisation. Making differences in people's lives is what we pride ourselves in doing. Anglicare has a long history of providing services to the aged, disadvantaged and less fortunate within our communities. Founded in Brisbane in 1904, Sister Emma Jane Packer started providing care to the community on a bicycle. Originally known as St Luke's Nursing Service, Anglicare employs more than 3,000 staff and 600 volunteers, and are well represented in many communities in different capacities within Queensland. Hack West offers services to the aged and younger clients that meet criteria to be assisted with domestic services, personal cares, medication prompting, social support, respite and garden maintenance. These services are provided through government-funded home care packages and Commonwealth Home Support funding, and to the younger clients through the Queensland Community Support Scheme, to name but a few. Anglicare Roma children and families has provided foster and kinship services for more than 15 years throughout Chinchilla and the southwest region, stretching from Toowoomba to Cunnamulla and from Injune to the New South Wales border. Roma children and families work with foster and kinship carers to support children in and out of home care systems, and is currently funded for 85 placements. We also work with families to prevent children coming into care, and if they must come into care, we also work with parents to support them to be reunited with their children. We are always looking for new carers who are passionate about empowering children and young people who are part of the foster care system. If you feel you may have the capacity to welcome a child into your home, please don't hesitate to contact the Roma office to discuss. A representative from both the Children and Families team and the Home and Community team will be available for you to talk to tomorrow during this event, should you be interested in joining this amazing Anglicare team. Our teams will also be available to speak with should you have any questions around the need for service delivery at home, not only for yourself but also for your loved ones. We look forward to being involved in tomorrow's event and meeting you all bright and early for kick-off.
Thank you very much, Tracy. You'll join the Anglicare team in South West, all sitting in the corner over there. Thanks very much for your support this evening. Okay, we've got a big bowl man coming up next by the name of Eddie Mono. Couldn't think of anything better to welcome you with Eddie. Eddie is a member of the QRL Indigenous Committee and was also Vice Chair of the NRL Indigenous Committee for a while there. But Eddie has a message to make to us all this evening, with being Reconciliation Week starting as from tomorrow. Please welcome Eddie.
Thank you, Mr. Crowe. Thank you very much. Before I start, I too would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this country. I will prop a big yes, I'll prop a big thank you for that welcome. It is always comforting to be recognised and acknowledged by the traditional custodians on country because of two things. One, I'm from the Torres Straits. I'm a Kairai man from up in Murray Island. My lineage up there is, it's strong. So when I come to another man's country, when I come to your backyard, I need to know who the traditional owner is so I can have a good night's sleep. If I can't, I'll tell you what, it'll take more than 6 years to get you there. This year is quite special, Mr. Crowe. But before I start, I'd like to acknowledge our QRL board representatives that are here this evening, blessing us with your presence. It's really, really good to see you guys here. To Ben, welcome on board. It's great to have you on board. Look forward to working very closely with you. As you can see, the reach of rugby league goes beyond the inner sanctum of Castle Main Street. What you see this evening in terms of the partnerships that we have, that we've built over many years, means a lot. It means a lot. And how we build our game out here to recognise significant events that happens in our country, but more importantly in our backyard. Rugby league is that platform, is that pillar that gets us to that stage. It brings community together. It isolates any of those discriminatory issues that happen in our community, and it brings us together as one. Whether you are, and to the young people who cooked tonight, the meal was just exceptional. That's the type of kind of rapport, the building that we need in our game that strengthens our communities. And tonight's feeling, being hosted here by this fantastic club from the time that we arrived, without our leader Danny, to where we are tonight, is incredible. So please, congratulations. I love doing that because that's all the niceties. Now it gets into the political stuff of things. National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Day of Celebrations actually starts today. And it starts with this thing called truth telling. So recently you would have seen at a national level and the state level, governments talking about this thing called treaty, this thing called, a referendum. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Day of Celebrations means a couple of things. It actually starts today. So, I'll flip the switch. National Sorry Day. National Sorry Day starts today. What does that actually mean? It means that on National Sorry Day today, all my people in this room recognise and acknowledge the hurt, the pain, separation of First Nations people from their country by the government. That's the truth telling. It's a bit of a kick in the guts. It's a bit of a hard story to tell, but it's the truth. How do we correct that? By acknowledging it. Simple as that, by acknowledging it. The hurt and the pain of being removed from their traditional country, being separated from their mothers and their fathers, their children, is a hard pill to swallow, but it's truth telling. I tried to script tonight what I was going to say and how I was going to say it, to make it soft, to make it humbling, to make it encouraging so that you would go and source that information. Realistically, you can't. Because some of the information is scripted, some of the information is spoken about. A lot of that hurt and pain left with our people that are no longer with us because it was too hard to tell. I, as a leader in my community, Sammy Bliss, as a leader in her community, our young men and women, our warriors, Gary, Brother Brad Beatson at the back there, the Tonga family, I acknowledge those families. We carry that and we represent that every day. So what's the connection between National Sorry Day and the Frank Fisher stuff? Where do I start? There are a number of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander doggets. So there are missions that were set up by the company. Frank Fisher was a product of that. I cannot tell you the stories of the Fisher family because that's not for me to tell. But what I can encourage you all to do is visit the Sherberg Ration Shed. Learn of the history of that country. Learn of genocide is a hard word, but it happened. How do we truth tell in a country that speaks of equality? The challenges that my colleagues and I at the National Rugby League level debated over weeks and months around changing one name in the national anthem. Because it meant so much, not just First Nations people, but to all Australians. And I get really emotional when I talk about things like this because of two things. You will never be able to take away my culture and identity. You are privileged to learn on my culture and identity. But when I speak to you about my culture and identity, I speak on behalf of all of my young warriors, men and women that are here tonight, that are playing and representing their country, their people, but more importantly, for the voices that do not speak. That better be Prime Minister, I tell you. So, NAIDOC Week, Mr. Crow, means a hell of a lot. But to coincide NAIDOC Week here in Chinchilla is powerful. I am a product of the Queensland Police Service. That runs in my vein as well. But I am also Indigenous. I cannot change what happened to our people, to this community. I cannot change the attitudes and the feelings and the hurts that every single member of this society, but more importantly this country, felt when that incident happened on that day. I can't take that back. But what I can say tonight, hand on heart, to my board, to my new CEO, Queensland Rugby League will always walk hand in glove in things that happen in our backyard. Why? Because we are one, we are equal. What happens in our backyard affects everybody. Sport is the vehicle that will keep our communities connected. Sport is the vehicle that will embrace communities' sense of belonging and connection and their identity. This club means a hell of a lot to this community. Why? Because it's the people within it that make the club. When Scott Nosworthy and I first come in here, I think about 15 minutes, is that right? One more point. When Scott and I rocked up today, the first thing that hit you when you walk in the door was the meet and greet by the staff. Walked out the back, had a yarn, but the feeling of the history in this club. The feeling of from 1 to 13 to 1 to 17 to 1 to 20, the number of players that wore the jersey that represented this community. That was special. Then you come and you see the pictures and the trophies, and that's young people that don't appreciate this history and don't appreciate the values as to why we need to recognise and acknowledge the key people that make this club. Need to understand this one simple thing. It creates an identity. It's your connection. It's your continuity in terms of who you are. That's the same feeling I feel about the Frank Fisher Cup. Because it comes from a generation of hurt. It comes from a generation of pain. It comes from a generation when my people were isolated. We were not considered human beings until after 1967. Prior to that, we were flora and fauna. And that's the type of truth-telling that this country as a whole will be coming to loggerheads with. And it's people like me who will stand courageously and talk to you about what that actually means. But being courageous also comes with empathy, having that compassion, having that drive, that we had people like Frank Fisher. We had people like the great Arthur Beetson. We had people like my good old auntie, Auntie Val, that's no longer with us. We had great people like Danny Maguire. You know? So whether you're wearing the police jersey tomorrow, or whether you're wearing the Frank Fisher jersey tomorrow, please remember this when you run onto the paddock. The game is just a game. It's how you carry yourself on and off the field that makes the character of who you are. Because the next generation of young people that will come and wear your jersey, I need them to understand that you've left that jersey in a better place. I've just got one more rule. When an elder is present and does an acknowledgement of country, I expect my people to acknowledge that elder. Biggest or thank you. He's just sitting over there next to me. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Eddie. As usual, could have heard a pin drop. Very powerful speaker. I've heard Eddie many times, and he really does speak from the heart. He brought his notes up here, put them aside, and just took off. Something very special to him. The final speaker before we get to our main speaker tonight is Danny Hess from the Queensland Police Service. Danny's the president of that police service rugby league. So please welcome Danny. Hi Danny, I know you've got a few things a few notes to speak to the crowd with this evening, but some may or may not know that the police men and women's teams went out to Tara, Miles, and places like that today to go and see the school children at those schools. How did that go?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. It was an excellent day for our police officers to go to the schools and join in with the community, not just the children, but also the elders and the parents and teachers. It's a great opportunity for us to give back. Like everyone's aware, we have a tough job, but it's events like this where we can come out to the community and give a little bit back. It's a little bit of downtime for us, but it's also something we're all rugby league people. So for us to come out and join in with the children and give a little bit back, it's rewarding to see. I have got notes, so I will be referring to them. I'd first like to acknowledge all of our special guests and organisers of this event, especially the QRL, Chinchilla Rugby League, and of course the Queensland Police. We've all been given a little bit of time to come out here, but it's also we've travelled from all over the state, so we've given up time with family and friends to come out here. To come out here and we look forward to it every single time. This is the second time we've been involved with the Frank Fisher Cup. Our last time was with Mergen. I believe COVID got in the road there for a little bit. So if this is an ongoing event, we're more than happy and proud to be a part of it. We're also honoured, and again, to be participating in this event, like I just said, not just participating, hopefully contributing. Contributing not just as footballers, but also as members of the community and partners with the governing bodies of rugby league. The Queensland Police have made certain commitments to the people of the community, and one of those is to form and maintain collaborative partnerships with government and non-government organisations in order to provide effective service delivery to those we took an oath to protect. This is the exact reason why we treasure our partnerships with the QRL, who also provide us with a voice and certain pathways for young people or those who may be identified as vulnerable persons. As an organisation, we also want to help mentor these people and provide opportunities that they may not otherwise be exposed to outside the boundaries of rugby league. Our organisation and association would also like to extend our appreciation for the ongoing support for our police family after the tragic events of Williamville, during which 3 grave innocent lives were taken. Such a tragic event has a long-lasting effect, which touches not only our brothers and sisters in blue, but quite clearly members of the community who we are passionate about and protecting. So to everyone here tonight, thank you very much. Yeah, it does touch us. It was a job that probably a few of us as police officers had been a similar job where it was a job we were going for welfare checks. So I think it really hits home to a lot of us as police officers. Just being an event where we've been to a number of times in the past, and to see an outcome like that is very tragic and it touches us deeply. To the 2 police sides and the 2 Frank Fisher sides tomorrow, best of luck. I'm sure the games will be played in the right spirit. It's a game of football. When you think about the events that happened in December last year, there's a lot of things in life that could be worse than losing a game of football. So we're all here for the right reason. So win, lose or draw, I'm sure it'll be played in the right spirit, and we'll catch up and have a drink afterwards. So best of luck to all 4 sides. And not just that, but also to the junior sides that are playing before us and the senior sides afterwards. Best of luck to all of them as well. Thank you very much for everyone for the night and for hosting us. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Danny. We might just have a 5-minute amenity break, if anyone would like that, before we ask Wayne Bennett to come to centre stage. So it'll only be 5 minutes. We're on time. We don't want to get behind. Thanks very much.
He's going to be keeping an eye on a few bits for us tonight. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the Bulldogs jersey signed by the signed by the team, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see. An outstanding jersey in the frame, and all you're going to do is hang it up on the wall. Alright guys, anyway, here we go, your day, your dollar, have a look at it, work it out, what have we got up on a jersey like that, could have made 4,000. Four, who's got three, come on ladies and gentlemen, I'm in your hands. Three, who's got two, who's got 2,000. 2,000 we got, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200, come on ladies and gentlemen, I'm in your hands. $1,200, what are we doing around the ring? 1,200, 1,200, 1,400, 1,400 right down the front. $1,400, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you in for $100 bid. 1,400 down front. 1,400, 1,400, 1,400, $1,400, and out we're going to go. We're going to go $1,400, be quick. Hold on at $1,400, 1,500. 15. We've just got ourselves an auction here. 15 out back. 1,500. What are we doing, sir? 1,500. 1,500. 1,500. That's right out the back. $1,500. You're showing it the wrong way, sir. $1,500. $1,500. And out we're going to go. We're going to go $1,500. Be quick. Hurry. Hold on at $1,500. Your way, mate. Thank you very much. Now, here we go, the main item of the evening, the signed Dolphins jerseys. Look at everyone's face, having a look at it now. Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. I can't say much more about it. You'll have a look at it, work it out. What have we got over the jersey like that? Could have made 5,000. 5. Who's got 4? 4 and starting. Who's got 3? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in your hands. Who's got 3,000? 3, is that a bid? 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, that'll be it. 3,032. 3,200 on the phone. 3,200, 3,200, 34. We're going, we're up. 34, 36. 5,000, 5, straight up. 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, talk to me, mate. 5,000. 5,250. 5,250. 5,250. That's on the phone. 5,250. 5,250. 5,250. What are you thinking, sir? I think we can arrange that. 5,250. 7,000. 7,000. 7,000. 7,000. 7,000 out here. That's 7,000. What are we doing up the back? We're very quiet. That's 7,000. 7,000. That's $7,000 around the ring one more time. That's $7,000 and out we're going to go. We're going to go at $7,000. Be quick. Is that a bit? Don't scream and shake your hands very quickly because I'll take anything. $7,000 out front. 7,000. That's 7,000. 7,000 bid for the first call. That's 7,000 bid now second call. That's 7,000 bid now third and final call. Run it quickly. Done. All done. Thank you very much, Mr. Josh Hardeman, a big supporter of the Bulldog Club from WBC. Thank you very much. Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen, the Origin jersey from the 7 victories, signed by Petro and Malmaninga. There you go, you've heard it all. With all the donations going back to the Bulldog Club, eh? Otherwise, anyway, we go, you see it, you don't look at it, what we got over the jersey like that, could have made 2,000. 2, who's got 1,500? Who's got 1,000 for it? 1,000, we got, 1,000 we took it here. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,200, 2, come on, Will. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, you were very quick to begin with. 2,000, 2,000, $2,000, that's right at the front. 2,000, what are we doing around the ring? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Is that a bit? 2,200, here we go, we've got an auction. 2,000, what's that? 5,000. 5,000, here we go. Come on, man. You've got to step over the pole now. I've got 5,000. 5,000, $5,000. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. $5,000 and out we're going to go. Is Tony Bender here? I don't think Mrs. Bender would like that. I've got 5,000 here. $5,000. $5,000. If you wanted me to put it up again, but I'm not going to hang it well. $5,000. $5,000 and out we're going to go. We're going to go $5,000. Be quick. Well done at $5,000. Thank you very much. And the last one, thank you, Mr. Hardeman. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our auctioneer tonight, raising a heap of money for Carly Gleason. Well, that finishes up proceedings for the night. I truly hope that you've enjoyed the proceedings. All the speakers were fantastic and then topped off by Wayne at the end. The amount of money raised at the end was just fantastic. We would love to see you all at the football tomorrow. Remember our raffles here. There'll be shirts on sale. There'll be caps on sale. Please come out. Bring all your friends. Let's make it a great day of rugby league celebration. Once again, thank you very much. Safe trip home.